welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Qoncert app. Today's question is, how do I know if a label offer is worth it? Now, for the majority of people that say this label offer stuff, they're probably getting offered by labels like people in their neighborhood and in the cities they live in, stuff like that. A lot of those ain't worth it. Like, I'm gonna just tell you the truth, like, because a lot of people can't do nothing for you. They try to build something that they control, and they mimic ideas that they've seen of past record labels, and they basically ruin people's careers. Like, I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Like, I remember it used to be a label out here that had like dues and stuff like that they had their people paying, and it's a good idea because, like, if you're all working together and you were basically willing to split everything the same way or whatever like that, and you understood like what each person was doing, I guess it could make sense because you're paying dues towards everybody pushing the right music and stuff, which made sense out the gate. But then when money gets involved, and when people's, like, I guess you can say, like, how much one person's working versus another person, it then starts to become very blurry. And so if people don't understand like the parts of that label and what has to happen, and being able to tell who's doing work and who's not doing work, then I would just say don't even do it. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, I remember when I first started, I wanted to have a label. I wanted to have like all the homies on it and stuff like half my homies didn't even rap. Like, and it was just like, I'm like, yo, everybody's gonna be on my label, and we got homies that don't even rap on it, everything like that, and you just feel like, yo, this is how this works. However, when you start understanding the ideas of the music business, it doesn't make sense, because then, as I said, you don't know how much people are working unless people are doing those jobs and they love it. Then a lot of times it doesn't work out. So then we want to put our homies in those spots like, yo, this is my manager, but they don't love being a manager. So then they don't really go help you manage things and get things set up and control things. I remember when I'd go on tour, I'd force whoever wants to come and get in free with me and everything like that, they got to do work. So they're either pitching in on stuff, they're gonna pay for food, or they pitching in somehow, or they putting, you know what I'm saying, they moving equipment around. Everybody's gonna end up doing something, like, you ain't coming. Like, that's how easy it was. Like, that's how I knew how my list of situations was going, because I was like, yo, if somebody wants to get in free on this list, and they're trying to come to the show like that, and they're the homies, then they gotta work, you know. And so, but if you're asking the idea of the label as in the bigger labels, I always say it's people from the labels are always going to tell you that's the best thing to do, because that's how they make money. And if this was the truth, you wouldn't see so many disgruntled famous people. You wouldn't see that many disgruntled, like, because it's just too many at this point. Like, it's groups that we know have sold tens of millions that are like, yo, this messed me up, this ruined my life, this did this. And people can get on here and say like, yeah, well, they did wrong with money, or they signed the deal or whatever like that, but we know the circumstances of some of these people prior to getting the deal. So then when you throw a little money in someone's face, they're still, just because you know what I'm saying, you can get over on them, that's messed up, because you know where they're coming from. So it's like, oh yeah, we'll give them this upfront money, and then they'll just be stuck forever. And then they'll be like, well, we did all this for them to get them to pop. So the hard part is that the proof of work and getting the pop. I understand the proof of work from like the independent angle of getting things to pop or getting things to go so you can make money. But I also understand that labels don't do a lot of that. Like, back in the day they did. Now they just pay off tons of people, and they hang with each other, and they sleep with each other, and they rub baby oil on each other, and then they go to parties with each other and everything, and then they just rub each other's palms. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not what everyone's saying it is. Like, it's not like all these people are just doing all this work and stuff like that. They're just getting you to the next level because they know how to cheat the system with, like, you look at these streams, they just run up people's streams. and people are paying for streams and stuff like that, and then nobody comes to see the shows. So then when the tickets ain't matching the shows, it's kind of like, yeah, I know exactly what you was doing. So you're playing an idea to make fame look a certain way, and then people are catching on because that's the only thing they're seeing. Then you're trying to basically cast a wide net and pull back in. So then when the artist is saying they deserve more from that aspect, it's kind of messed up because the artist actually does deserve more, but they're not going to give it to him. So then I always say, like, it's debative of how much work you want to put in if you if you think the label's worth it. Because if you want to go get your own shows and you want to control your own situation and stuff like that, and then leverage that towards a label, then that's going to put you in a better situation. So if you're going to go do the work, but if you're not going to do any of the work and you want to just kind of manufacture you, hey, it might be worth it for you. If you don't want to sell no tickets, you don't want to grind on the ground, nothing like that, you want to just jump into it, it might be worth it for you. But then you need to understand that 0.001% of artists that actually live off this includes these artists. So then you look at dudes that had hit songs that have jobs still. You look at tons of people that had hit songs that still have jobs and that back struggling and everything like that. Like, you're taking a shot with that idea of being like, yo, I'm just going to try to go for this. If it doesn't work, I'm done. That's what you have to understand that as, versus the idea of being like, I can go for this and then still do something else. Then it just becomes a hobby. So unless you're going the independent route and then you might take the route of label, that's the only one that's like where I'm still going to live and make money. Like that's what our situation was we were just kind of like, hey, if we go to LA and we make it, we make it. But if we come back home, we still just gonna grind this out and still make money. So it didn't really matter to me. Like, it was just kind of like, yo, I might not be famous, but I live off this. I still don't do nothing else. So to me, a lot of the things that people were saying didn't make sense numbers wise. But that's because I needed money to live. Like I'm paying for house and all this stuff like that. And like so it's one of those situations where it's like, I'm not doing that. I personally ain't doing the sleeping like on the floor. Like, we did it for probably like a year, like sleeping on the floor at the homie's crib, all this stuff like that, taking flights all day, every day, doing all that stuff just to see if we can get on and all this stuff. And I'm not really a fan of it. So to me, anything that anybody was saying doesn't make sense because I'm already at the point where I knew how to make 50 to 100,000. So then it's like, if I know how to make it, then it's like, you really have to be saying something crazy like, hey, I'm giving you $1 million up front and like you can make it back in one album, like or we move to the next or something. Like, it can't be that like 5 album $1 million deal, like, and it's gonna take me like 5 years to get through this 5 6. Like, well, if you're looking at 5 albums, you're probably looking at like a 10-year push or longer. And it's like, that's $100,000 a year, and that million you're probably gonna end up spending on features and all this weird stuff and how you look and all this stuff. Like, I just can't do it. So it didn't never make sense to me. So it's just like, the other people it can make sense. Like, the other people, you might be like, yo, I'll get this deal, I'm gonna do this, and then you might be able to swing it out the park and then make money on the shows. Me, doesn't make sense because it's like, hey, if I'm making, I might as well just work a job. Because what's gonna go into those details is like paying for my own flights, paying for my own food everywhere, everything that you just fronted the money. So then I'm still having to live how I have to live. I still gotta pay for everything. So then it can run out quicker because now I'm adding in advertisement stuff. I'm adding in flashy clothes. I'm adding in flashy cars. I'm adding in tons of stuff that I would usually probably wouldn't have done, and that wasn't me. So it wasn't like I didn't need the flashy car, anything like that. So then it kind of is like just cutting into the money that I would have been getting from just shows and sponsors. And then I could have just used it how I wanted to use it. And I didn't really care for fame. So then you really just have to decide what you wanted from the label. Like, if you want fame and that's what you really need or crave or whatever like that, then definitely it's worth it. Because they got it. They got it. If you want all the You know what I'm saying? The rock star life, what they say, drugs, sex, and whatever. Like, if that's what you want, then it makes sense over there. And then you want to take that risk of possibly making big money, then that might be it for you. To me, I never seen it that way because I don't indulge like that. So it's like, to me, I just never was out there like that moving. So it didn't really excite me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say if you want to look at it as if it's worth it. Understand what you're getting into and understand if you're willing to do the work yourself, the money can come how you make it, however much work you're going to do. However, if you don't want to do the work, go the opposite way. This music is a day job. I'm your host, Sean. This is brought to you by the Qoncert app.